Hello guys, good morning. Welcome to the channel. Today we are going to see about how to read in Excel using Java's Apache point and how to read a property file. If you are not subscribed, please subscribe. Let's move on to the topic. So in this tutorial, you will learn how to implement data-driven approach in Selenium, basic data-driven approach, how to read a properties file, what first you will understand what is properties file, then I will explain you how to read a properties file, how to configure a global data in the property file, how to configure and read element from the repository which I am going to save it in the properties file. After that, we will also learn how to read Excel using Apache file library and a simple data-driven approach using Excel. And the last one is how to write the result back to Excel. So these are the topics we are going to cover. Let's start. Before that, we'll understand how the data is flown in this. It's like how this approach was designed. It's like, for example, if you see the picture clearly, you have three segments. One is test data, which is an external file. From there, you can take the test data. The second approach is you can hard code in the script, but that is not advisable. You should not hard code the test data inside a script. That is not advisable because if there is a change, you can't go there and update all the scripts wherever the data has been used. So it's not a good approach to use hard coded values inside the script. So always you should configure the data either in an Excel file or from a table or from a property file or a text file. So in this context, what we're going to discuss is how you store the test data in an Excel or a property file. So what happens, you always store, like for example, general data like URL, username, password. So every time you used to log in and then test the application and log in. So username, password, and URL can be stored in a property file as a global property file. Okay. The same can be stored in Excel as well. So from there, what happens? Data will be read by your Selenium test script. Then it will input the same in the application under test. Then what happens? You capture the result using a text script and you save it back to again to an external file. This is one of the approach. After that, what we do? We compare what is expected just stored in a external file and what actually happened with the application under test. Then we will publish the results. So this is the high level design of how actually test data driven works. Take a data, run in your script, apply in your script, run on the application under test, grab the result, and put the result back to Excel or a reporting file, whatever you are using. So hope you understood this approach. Let's start with property file. So what is property file? It is similar to our regular text files. So why using property file? It already explained it's not a good practice to hard code the values. So we are using property file has been used in Java, many of the Java programs because this property file having an advantage of key value format. What is key value format? The first value which you have putting in the property file will be your key. It's similar to array list. So the first value will be key and equal to whatever value you are passing is a values. Okay. So usually this file starts with any name whatever you can give, but the extension is dot properties. For example, in my case, I have global dot properties file name. That's how it works. Okay. I have shown you the example how you store the data. If you see the example, username equals standard is means here the key is username and the standard is the value. Okay. So let's get started. What's the next step? So if you want to read a property file, you need to import some Java packages. So what are the Java packages you need to import to read a property file? Input.java.io file reader. To read a file, this is the class. It, it will be available in a default Java library. So you don't need to create a separate dependency in order to read a property file. Okay. So file reader, properties, and IO exception. Defaultly when you're working with Selenium, it will ask you what you should import. And the second step is, so once you have, let's learn the syntax. So what is the syntax for using a property file? First, what we need to, we need to create a file reader instance. So in the file reader instance, you should pass the path of the property file. And exactly you have this property file. Okay. Second is you need to initialize the property file. That is same as before, properties, new properties. Usually we define the similarly how we define a class, the object, and name of the class name. So properties is a class, right? So to invoke the properties, in this case rec is my object. So next step is I should load the value. It's like the path which we have already path of the property file, right? So we have to load it. So rec dot load build to for. And the third step is now once you load it, you need the, so all the values will be stored inside the property load, means like it will be in key pair value format. So that particular property dot get property, if you pass the key, then it will give you the values. Okay. So let's see practical example of how to implement a property file.
So I created two property files. One is global.properties. See here, I saved the URL, username, and password. So how the syntax works? URL equal to the value, the URL name, username equal to the name, and password equal to password. Okay. So if you see what is the extension, dot property is the extension of this file. It is called a Java properties file. Okay, how you create this file? Just right click, create new file, dot properties you can create. Okay, already I have created, so I'm not going to create it again. So once you're done with this step, what you have to do is you have to configure this. So second property file which I have is object repository dot properties. So this one I have created in order to store all my elements which I have taken it from the website. It's like already we discussed, right? How to capture locators from screen. So if you see here what how I have defining it is username equal to id colon username. So why I'm using is like so that my script will understand whether I'm trying to use id, name or XPath. After that I have feeded the exact locator value. Okay. We'll discuss how we are going to achieve this in the script. Okay. As I already told you, these are the imports you have to do in order to do a file reader IO exception and properties. Sorry, this iteration not needed. Remaining packages. Okay. So let's start from the main package, how it works. So I initialize this class and launch the Firefox browser and maximize the window. Now I created a property file. So if you see, we have two properties file to read. One is global property, other one is object repository property file. Next step is already told you we need the path of the property file. System.get property user directory. Since I have these files inside the user directory. So inside external files, I have this. So REC will have the path of global property file and OR will have the path of object repository file. Okay, so now what will happen is, now read property file is a function which I created. I showed you here, right? So I'm passing the path of inside this function file name will not. So already I discussed the syntax. What we do, create a file reader class, pass the path of the property file. Next step is initialize the property and just load it. Now I am returning this property to REC, to again back to the place where we have initialized. What will happen? REC property will have all the property values of global property, and var will have all the property values of. So let me tell you again how it happens. The path will be sent to read property file. File reader will initialize, create a property class, load it, and just return it back to a original. So it will return to record or OR. So R is that get property of URL. What it, this is the key value pair. So for this key value pair, what is the value we have? So this will be returned. Now it will launch the browser with the source demo. Second step, or.get property of send key. This one will be new for you guys. Let me explain. So what we are going to do is, so get element of string element. What will happen is, so this will be passed, ID colon username will be passed inside this one. How? Because you see here, get element var dot get property of username element. So it will return ID colon username. So now what will happen in this get element? Using colon, it splits both the values. If you see here, the first one will be your and second one will be the actual element. So element type, element value will be stored. Now it will check if it is an ID, then return driver dot find element by ID. Name, return this. Similarly, I have written for most of the functions including XPath and CSS. So this will have driver dot find element by XPath dot ID, because we have passed ID, right? So name element is ID. Dot send keys of re dot get property. This will be there for coming from global properties. So this value standard user will be coming there. Okay. Now similarly here, if you see get property of password element. So password element again, if you see what is this, name. What will happen? It comes to the second place and return driver dot by element by name by element value. So this approach will be very useful to simplify your element repository and no need to write multiple code again and again. And send keys of password. Now login button dot click. So this is straightforward. So what exactly this does is, it gets the data from global properties and takes the elements from object repository. So in future we will be designing page factory and page design pattern, how we store an organized way the elements. So that's why I wanted to tell you guys, like it's always good to organize your elements also, instead of hard coding inside every script. For example, if you see here, previously I've shown you multiple examples. In all the examples I'm hard coding this. What will happen? If any change, I need to go to all my Java class and update the same. But in this case, I just need to update in one place. So for example, this is changed to username one. Just change it to username one here. That's more than enough. You don't need to update anywhere else. So that is how property file works. It's very useful. You will have to try it out. Let me run and show you what exactly happens.
Some code is lost. The URL has been picked from the object repository, and also the username and password also has been picked from local repository, and the elements are picked from element repository. And it has launched the web page. So that's all for property file. Let's see about MX Excel. Like how do we launch MX Excel using Selenium Java? So Java doesn't have any built library for to launch Microsoft documents. So Apache Point, which we are going to use, it's a Java API used to work with all kinds of Microsoft documents, including Excel. MS Excel, MS Word, anything can be achieved using Apache Point. If you see here, like the second one is Apache Point Excel, and it's a Java API. So it has been used to. What is the purpose of Apache Point? So before going to that, so what are the dependency we need to add in order to proceed with Apache Point installation? So the first dependency is Apache Point dependency. I have taken a version 5.2.3, and apart from that there is one more dependency you need to add, that is Point XML 5.2.3. So these two dependencies you need to add into your Selenium Maven project in order to proceed with Excel automation. So the next step is, what is the syntax? It just means to read and write an Excel file. Okay. So the first syntax is for reading an Excel file. So the first one, file input stream. It's not just for Excel. For any files, if you want to read, you need to use new file input stream, path of the Excel, where you have placed the Excel file. And the second one, XSF workbook. This comes from the library, Apache Point library, XML library. From there it's coming. So XSF workbook is a worksheet. It's a class, and workbook is an object, and we have initialized this object and passed the file input stream object into this. And the third statement is, inside the workbook you will have worksheet, right? So get sheet at 0 means first sheet, 1, 2, 3 means which sheet you want to pick, that sheet you have to define here. So once you came to the sheet, now you are in workbook as initialized, file as initialized, workbook has been initialized, sheet has been initialized. Now let comes to the rows. So Excel is in a table format. It's like the rows and columns. So the first row will be called as row 1, cell 1, means 1 comma 1. Sorry, first row will be 0 comma 0, because index always starts with 0. So row sheet dot get row of 0 means the first row. Once the row is pointed, now we have to get the cells. That is cell. Cell is a class, cell is an object. Row is nothing but the object which we defined in the fourth line. Row dot get cell of 0. Now the pointer is exactly on the first cell of first sheet of the workbook. Now cell dot get string cell value means it will return the string value which is inside the first cell. If you want to take number, the function will be different. Okay, so this is how we read the Excel. Now let's see how we will write back to the Excel. So already this initialization is done. So I'm starting directly with row dot create cell of 3 means in the first row, because if you see row sheet and get row 0, I have already initialized. So now it will be first row, third column, set the cell value 0, 1, 2, 3. Set the cell value to error message, nothing but which I capture from the screen. I'm trying to input back to the Excel. And the line 2, file output stream. File input stream to read and file output stream to write back. So file output stream class, object is FOS, and new file out class, you need to again pass the path of the Excel. And the third line is workbook dot write. Already we have initialized this workbook XSF workbook. So that object should be called dot write, and you have to pass the output string file. So once everything is done, the job is not done. You need to close the file and workbook. So for that you need to use the command fs.close and workbook.close. Hope you will understood up to now. Let's see a practical example of how exactly all these things are done. So the first thing what we are doing is, you see here I created a Excel file. Let me show you that Excel file. Okay. One more thing what you have to keep in mind is, what is the extension of this Excel file? So there are two extensions. One is .xls, other one is .xlsx. Okay. So now if you see here, so XSF worksheet and workbook. This particular package will be used to initialize both the files. But in case, before that I will show you the my Maven dependency. I have showed you already in the screenshot, but I will show it to you. So these are the two dependencies you need to copy. So once I copy it here, you can see here 5.2.0 and this one, both essentially. Inside this you can see our workbook model. So this comes from our Apache premises. So it comes inside Apache inside this. There will be access output under the user models. Okay. So this is the configuration side. Let's start. So I hope you have already configured. Let's see how we can. See, there are two approaches I am going to show you. One is the basic initialization. Other one is through row iterator and cell iterator. Okay. So now the first step is path of the Excel. Okay. And the path of the Excel, if you come here, you can open and show you that. So this is my first username, first password, second username and second password. And the C column is the one which I am expecting the results to be published. Let's see how it works. Before that, let's understand our script. So path of the Excel has been initialized here. This one already explained you how to use system get property. 139 is same as what I have shown you. I initialize the input stream, initialize the workbook, and pass the path of. Here I pass the path of the Excel. Here I am passing file input stream object. Get sheet of 0. Row sheet get 0 will go to the first cell. It goes to first row, then it goes to the first cell, then it takes the username, and I am passing it to the username. Okay. Next step what you have to do, you need to go to get cell of 2 in second column, take this, put it in password and launch it in the password. And I will log in using a login button. Okay. So now the username and password is wrong, which I have passed. So I will get an error message. So this will capture the error message. Create cell of 2. 0 1 create cell of 2 will write the error message here. Okay. I just want to refresh the page because so that the error message will go off. Now it goes to the get row from the second row and the first cell. You will insert username. Second row, second cell will have the password. And now if you go here, you will catch the and here. Second row, it should not be 3. So what we must create select 2. This also 2. Sorry. It should be 2, but this row will become so that it will write in the next row. So if I use row 1, what will happen? It will overwrite the existing one. Okay. Hope you people understood up to now. File input stream initialization, workbook initialization, sheet initialization, row initialization, cell initialized, then pick the value and pass the value and capture the value and save using create cell command. Why create cell is used? Because in the Excel every cell before it is started using it will be an empty cell. So if you try to read that, you will get a null pointer exception. Create a cell is needed, then set the value. Set cell value. You can see the difference, right? Get string cell value. This is set cell value. It is getting, it is setting the value back. And finally, we have to output while output string output dot write. Close the output. Okay, let's see how it works. Before that, I will command this one and I will try to launch. Let's run. So the page has been opened. It tried entering the logged out username and password. Try to click on login. So it got the error. And the second time launched the second user ID, second password. Again it tried login. It will capture the error. The second something is happening. Okay, but the driver has executed. Let's analyze this error afterwards. Let's see what happened with the Excel. So I have shown you before that it has only user ID and password. Now if you see, first one it returned the first password. First error message, sorry this user has been logged out. And the second one, this one. So let me delete this so that I can show you the other examples. So hope you understood the basic method of launching an Excel, reading it and writing it back to the Excel. Now I will show you how do you achieve it using iterate. Okay, this one remains the same, input remains the same, output remains the same, sheet remains the same. Now there's a class called iterator, which is inside iterator of Java iterator. So what we'll do is it will iterate. You can use a while class. Has nest means if the row is having a nest value, then only it will go inside. It comes inside. It comes to this place. Now next what will happen is once you are here, you are in the first row. Now you have to initialize the cell iterator. So same logic as cell iterator that has nest. It will go inside the while condition. Now cell iterator next you point to a current cell. It's similar to get cell. See here. Similar to pro.get cell particular cell. But there we are explicitly saying here it will iterate throughout the Excel. We don't need to create multiple commits to read all the values from the Excel. So this approach will be very useful for using a data-driven testing. So now input data will get the string cell value. This one just for programmatic purpose I have written. It's like if only j is 0, then you start with username. The second step onwards, password it will be entered. Okay. So this remains the same and output remains the same.
Okay, let's run and see what is the result. So it will open the page, maximize it, enter the first username and password, which should be it's a locked out user. So you will get a error message saying that this user has been locked out. Now the same screen you're trying with wrong username and password. So the same login with a different scenario you're trying. So that is called as data driven approach. It's like the same scenario with multiple data using in Excel, we are achieving it. See here. So the first scenario it captured the locked out message and the second scenario it captured the username and password message. So if you have 100 kinds of test data you want to test for a login, you can just feed it in this Excel and run the particular test. Hope I have explained about how to read property file and read and write Excel. And also I have explained you one of the important topic like how to store the element in Selenium. Thanks for joining. If you have any questions, please comment. Thank you. Please subscribe.